on the passing game. And that's because that's who we had as an offensive coordinator before.
Right.
That is 100% who Andy Ludwig is. That's who he's always going to be. And that's why we sent quarterbacks to the league, because we did run a pro style offense here at Utah for lots of years. And even though we did see Isaac kind of run a little bit in the end, you saw him run the ball more with Mike Bajakian taking over than you ever did as when Andy Ludwig was calling the offense. But you have to have a quarterback that can stay healthy running this kind of scheme, right? So that comes down to quarterbacks making good decisions, being smart when you're running the football, and just taking what the defense is giving you in all of these situations, right? You don't need to extend the play every 3-4 yards when you're the most valuable guy on the football field. And yes, Cam Rising, I'm looking at you.
Yeah, definitely. That's something we did talk about last week, that we should, and kind of what we talked about a little bit this last week and a little bit this week, is we should see this as more of an eye-opening moment for the Utes, and having so much of their talent leave for the portal. And reports coming back from this that what's from is mismanagement of the talent on that side of the ball. But honestly, man, I see that, given this team has decided twice to hang on all of its hopes to, once again, Cam Rising 2 years in a row, it's probably not the best situation that the Utes could right now, this is probably the best situation that the Utes can find themselves in.
Yeah.
Right. Honestly, now that we have an offensive coordinator that can bring in his guys, right?
Right.
Have his input on the type of talent that we have on that side of the ball. I hope that the feeling isn't lost on the rest of the brass and Coach Witt, that this whole controlling the clock and pinning the ball and pinning the other team, far back as possible in the backfield. That's no way to run an offense in a P4 football.
Correct.
Level conference.
Yep, absolutely.
I hope that they give Beck what they haven't given other offensive coordinators in most recent memory, which is, most importantly to me, free reign.
Yep, absolutely. And that's exactly what we needed, because we've all seen it. The fact is New Mexico had the 4th ranked offense in the country in this last year. They weren't a great team only because their defense really struggled. And the one thing that we know that we all do at the University of Utah is we got a great defense. And that's not going to change. As a matter of fact, I think that'll actually help to have a even just proficient offense that can get the defense back off the field, let them rest. This is going to help our defense be even better moving forward, right? Because both of these sides of the ball, it's all yin and yang, right? Like it goes, you need both to be successful, because each one of them gives the other person a break. And the offense is more tuned for longer drives and staying off, and the defense is going to go hard while they're out there. 3 out, offense back on the field, right? So you're able to control the tempo of the game with offense, and that's why you want to keep those guys out there for as long as possible. And I think that all of the buzz around Jason is exactly what we haven't felt for a really long time, right? This guy has a buzz around him because he is a young, brilliant mind on the offensive side of the ball. And we always kind of knew what we had in Andy Ludwig, and that was kind of, he ran a really efficient offense. It was fun to watch when we had Cam in his heyday, but the fact was, in the last couple of years, without Cam at the helm of those offenses, it was brutal. And we just had no chance to be successful when we were playing that way. So I don't know. I'm really excited, man. I'm really excited for for Coach Jason Beck, obviously. I'm excited to see what he brings to Salt Lake. I'm excited to see who he brings in and how he utilizes these tools. And I'm really pumped to see the offense moving the football in 2025.
So I was listening to wrap this one up here, I was listening to ESPN 700, and Spence Checkett's on that show. Is pretty dialed into what's going on up on the Hill. He's not considering himself an insider by any means, but some of the chatter that you heard around the Hill there is that this season was going to be Coach Witt's last season, and he was going to retire after this year. But after the year they had, he's like, I'm not going out like that.
Yeah.
So it's
actually opened up. It obviously opens up on Monday, December 9th, and it'll close on Saturday, December 28th. So obviously we had an up and a down year. Like you mentioned before, we had Andy Ludwig move on. We hired a new offensive coordinator. It's official. Coach Witt's back. Everything's changing, and this whole year is just kind of up. Let's add to the fire, right? Might as well go on to the who's entered the portal, who might we receive from the portal, and is there anyone interested in maybe taking some look at Utah as their new home?
Yeah, let's definitely go into that. First, I want to talk about the fact that we've had 21 players enter the portal this year.
That's insanity.
Do you know what the national average for a P4 school is?
I'm going to say it's probably around 20.
It's 30.
30.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only reason why it hurts so bad this much is most of it came from the offensive end.
Which is, I mean, that's expected when you fire your offensive coordinator. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, and you kind of had a down season, and there was a lot of people that was expecting different things, right? Obviously, Isaac Wilson thought he was going to be playing backup to Cam and wasn't expected to be thrown into what he was thrown into. So there's definitely a lot that plays into that. But so yeah, there's definitely a lot that left. But when it comes to that, we can talk about that all day. Maybe we'll cover that in a future episode. But I'd really like to talk about.
But I do want to be clear though on something, just real quick. The transfer portal does not necessarily mean you are losing these players. They are putting their name into the portal to see if they can get an additional offer from another school and if it's better than the one that they currently have.
Yeah.
So there will be players that have entered the transfer portal that will be back with the U next year.
Absolutely. And I'll definitely get into that when we talk about it. So let's go ahead and first talk about the most important position that we have coming into this, which actually broke several hours ago.
Yep.
Let's start with quarterback. So Devin Dampier from New Mexico has reported that he's expected to land in Utah. He tweeted that, "Everyone, I found a new home. Stay tuned." And as of about 3 or 4 hours ago, we had that confirmation that he is going to be joining the University of Utah. Dampier is a dual threat quarterback. With a total of 3,934 yards of total offense this season. 2,768 yards were through the air, and 1,166 of that was on the ground. He has 2 years left of eligibility.
Yep.
He's a great fit for Beck's proven style of offense, which is the spread offense with heavy use of the run-pass option. He had 12 touchdowns, but also had 12 interceptions, and his QB rating was 121.6, which that is not good. But he is the number 7 ranked QB in the portal, which I think is the right pick for this team.
Yes. So just to be noted, Damon Dampier has more yards of offense that he's personally accountable for than the whole University of Utah had last year.
Yeah.
So just him had more offense than the whole team last year.
Yeah, Dampier had a heck of a season last year, and and no offense to the Rebels, but they're not exactly the most offensive juggernaut team, So
right, they hadn't been up till last year.
Yeah, so I think what he was able to do with that, and they definitely had some people.
He was with New Mexico Lobos.
I'm sorry, did I say Rebels?
You said Rebels.
Lobos. I have it down here a little bit.
Yeah, you're good.
We'll talk about the Rebels here in a minute. But yeah, so I definitely think it's fantastic that he's with the team. I definitely expect the team to pick one more. So rumor has it that Utah is trying to, first of all, re-recruit Isaac Wilson. Beck has yet to meet with him or Brandon Rose, but he plans on reaching out to both of them to bring them back to the program. So that was noted a little bit earlier. So the other options there at quarterback that we definitely want to look at is potentially adding that are in the portal right now is Connor Wagum from Texas A&M. He has 2,600 passing yards, has 19 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. I believe he is ranked number 6 as far as the quarterback rankings that is currently in the transfer portal. I also really like Devin Brown from Ohio State. I think he's a great option.
Great option.
He went to Corner Canyon High School. He has got ties locally here. Went to Ohio State as a 5-star recruit. The only issue with him is he's kind of got issues with lack of experience. He's under 50 passes under his belt, which can be definitely an issue there. But he is the 15th ranked QB that's in the portal right now.
Yeah.
So I definitely like that as a potential option there as well. I do have, before we get in the comments though, I do have a wild card pick for you.
Okay, I'm ready.
Matthew Sluka.
Yeah, Matthew Sluka from UNLV.
Yeah, Matthew Sluka.
He actually is a running quarterback. I think they can make him an offer. What I love is the Utes actually have an option that they can bring somebody in. Devin Dampier hasn't won the starting job. Just because he's played in Jason Beck's offense does not mean he gets it.
Right.
They can actually go out and tell a quarterback, you have a chance to win and be the starting quarterback here, which hasn't been the case for the last 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think I really like the fact that he's a dual threat crowback. He also would come in pretty cheap because of all the controversy.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
the NIL money won't be at a crazy
Yep.
number, but I really like that pick to bring him in and potentially, create some kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Competition there at the QB1 spot.
I love it. That's exactly what this team needs.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's really. I think
Put the best guy on the field.
absolutely want to hear from you folks there. Do you guys have somebody that's a better quarterback that you think that's currently in the portal would be a better option for the University of Utah? I really like the idea of all these options there, but when I look at that wild card option, man, I'm just like, ooh, that's the pick, man, for me, for sure.
Bring it.
Yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the comments here. We got Jonathan. Is that Blazer?
Blazier, yeah.
Blazier. Okay, Jonathan Blazier. Why is it not showing? There we go. Merry Christmas, work. Thank you.
Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year's. Appreciate it, man. Thank
you very much. Happy New Year's to you.
Absolutely. To you as well, for sure. We also have McKinley Cutler there for the channel. Isaac Wilson to BYU for the comedy.
Don't even, McKinley. How dare you?
It was locked on BYU that they're definitely exploring that as an option.
So, I guarantee he's been highly recruited by BYU.
Yeah, so it's
highly recruited by BYU.
Like, come on, man. Your brother came here. We put him in the league.
It very well could happen. I mean, honestly, I think the kid wants to stay local. He had offers from every single major Power 5 school.
Right? Yeah, man. Yeah, with Bronco Mendenhall signing with Utah State as their head coach.
Yeah, not a bad pickup, right?
That could potentially, also has ties to BYU for some reason. I don't know. I think I heard he was a coach around here for a little bit once.
I could see him returning to the U.
No, I think he's got a good chance of returning. I just don't think he liked the position where he was handled. I think if he hears a good pitch from Beck, that he probably will like what he hears. Because honestly, I don't think his options out there.
And hey, McKinley, go Utes.
And I honestly don't think that there's as many options out there for him. That
he'll have a ton of offers. He'll get offers everywhere. This kid was an elite 11 quarterback.
Yes,
and yes, you saw what he did last year. But the fact is he didn't have a whole offseason to prepare his QB1. And I don't know if he wants to go somewhere to be QB1.
I don't know, man. He's had some of the most, one of the best wide receiver rooms the University of Utah has ever had.
That's a great point. But he didn't get to practice with him because Cam Rising was always the number one quarterback.
Yeah, always throwing QB1 in practice, which was always awesome.
Yeah.
Something you love to see. You'll love to see it. But anyway, so back to the portal here. Let's go ahead and move on over to running back, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay, so I got Jalen Glover. He has 12 carries with over 60 yards. In 2024, so these are all the people that we basically lost, right? So Jalen Glover, Anthony Woods did not play with the
Idaho State transfer.
Yeah, didn't play this year with a season-ending injury, and then also Dejon Stanley. He had 66 rushing yards, 166 receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns. They have all announced that they're going into the transfer portal. And running back turned cornerback John Randall Jr. has done the same.
Yeah.
So with that said there, the only one that's returning, I believe, is Mike Mitchell.
Yep, that's correct.
So he's the only one that's still on a scholarship. That's a running back that's going to be here on next year's team. Now it did mention there, let's see, Eli Sanders is a good option here. He is also from the Lobos from last year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got 147 carries, total of 1,063 yards, 9 touchdowns. His average carry was 7.2 yards per carry, which is
kind of a workhorse back. Obviously, he'd be familiar with the offensive scheming. So he's definitely going to be a key. They did have a really good a really good running back just signed out of high school. He was a top pick. He had a bunch of big offers from big time schools out of the SEC. Again, Racine Gilroy. He's going to be with the program.
Right.
And this dude's talented. He's a 4-star running back. I think he's going to give Mike Mitchell a good run because he's going to want to be RB1, obviously heading into spring early too.
So I think that's probably, he's a good pick up there. With Eli, though, he hasn't actually officially visited Utah, and I don't believe he's going to. He's going to be meeting with Arizona, and that's really the closest he's going to get to Utah. However, Quentin Joyner from USC, the 5th best running back in the portal right now, 63 carries, 475 yards, 3 touchdowns with an average carry of 7.6 yards. He does have Utah on his target list of schools to visit, along with Louisville, Missouri, UCF, and Virginia Tech. So for a running back, I think that'd be a good option there. And the fact that he is coming to visit Utah, I think that's a good sign.
Yeah, for sure.
love to refill that room up, with a little bit more talent on the, I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
So those kind of my main options there that I'd like to see come out of the portal coming into Utah. I guess we could kind of cover what happened, what we lost, but honestly, when it comes to, with our new OC, I think it's really focused on what could come in. There'd be a good fit for what he's trying to do there. And I think all those players make a good fit for what he's trying to do.
Yep, absolutely. No, that's a great job, dude. Absolutely. Great work on that.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or not.
No, I'm being dead serious.
Okay.
You did great work. That's way more research than I put into it.
All right. So we have Jonathan Blazier say A. And then we also had him follow up with that ABC 15 Arizona guys can watch all the news.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Thanks.
I like it. Anyway, so scrolling on down here, let's go ahead and talk about, let's stay within college athletics, shall we?
Yeah.
I do want to talk about something that's worth noting because it's kind of a big deal. We have AJ, how do you say last name?
Dibasta.
Dibasta?
Dibasta. Yeah.
Dibasta. Okay. Anyway, 6'9" wing from Brockton, Massachusetts. Will be playing his final year of high school basketball with Utah Prep and Hurricane. He will continue his basketball career with the BYU Cougars.
Absolutely.
You can easily say that this is the biggest high school recruit, not only by BYU has ever landed, but you could also say with it that the whole state has ever landed. Sean Bradley might have something to say about that, but this is a big deal, man. I don't know if you ever tuned into The Drive with Spence Checkets on ESPN 700, but like I said, he's kind of dialed into all this stuff. And yesterday he mentioned on the show that the kid was originally part of the class of 2026. He ranked as the top recruit in that class. He then was reclassified to the 2025 class.
Right.
And he is the top recruit in this class. It was also mentioned by a high school prospect expert to Spence Checkets that if he was in this class, he would be the number one prospect over Cooper Flagg.
Have you seen this kid play? Have you seen anything on him?
Oh, I've seen a little bit. This guy's insane.
He is crazy talented. He can shoot the ball from everywhere. He can handle it like a guard. This is an insanely crucial pickup for BYU basketball.
Yeah.
This is the piece that takes you from trying to win a conference to trying to win a national championship. That's what this caliber of player does for BYU.
Yeah. And have you heard the NIL violation for this kid?
$7 million?
$5 to $7 million.
$5 to $7 million.
Reported minimum of 5, maximum of 7. So it's probably right there in the middle.
And not to mention, you got one of these really. You obviously just hired a new head coach at BYU, and you go all in on Kevin Young and what can he do for the program. This is what he's doing.
Yeah.
I mean, he's turning this place around. He's getting you the number one overall recruit. That's just craziness, man.
And the fact that he could be number one recruit in the country 3 years running.
Right.
Like this is
it's not just in his class. I mean, he could be the number one recruit right now.
Yes.
With generational players like Cooper Flagg and Dylan and crazy talented players, and this kid could still beat him out.
Yeah, it's insane. And like I mentioned, I don't think that there's any argument to that. I'd be really hard pressed to see a person who's this prospect coming out of high school that Utah's ever gotten. You can throw Miller at me, Andre Miller. You can throw whoever you want that has made it into the NBA.
Andrew Bogut.
Sure. I mean, even Jimmy Fredette was national player of the year in college basketball.
But he wasn't even from Utah, though.
No,
he was he
played for
college.
BYU.
Yeah, right.
National player of the year.
Yeah.
So this kid has potential to be better than all that. He's got a future MVP written all over him.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is an insane get for him. And we talked about it. The reason why I brought this up is that not only that, did you see him on First Take?
I did not see him on First Take, no.
Yeah, so he announced this on First Take.
I saw that he was announcing it on ESPN, yeah.
Yeah, with Stephen A. Smith.
Right.
You should have seen the face that he made when he says, I'm going to Provo. He's like, what? And he obviously talked about Kevin Young and how Coach Young is building a pro-style type team down there so he can be best suited for the pros. And he mentioned there, as Stephen A. asked how long he plans on being in Provo, and his dad, AJ's dad, just said he's one and done. Said it immediately right there. So I mean, $5 to $7 million. That is really Ryan Smith putting his money where his mouth is for sure. Did you know that
You got to go all in if you're going all in.
Did you know Kevin Young was actually the preferred head coach at for the Suns for Devin Booker? Devin Booker wanted Kevin Young to be the head coach.
I believe that.
Yeah.
They were good buddies, man.
I think that's insane, man.
Yeah.
You got an NFL, you got an NBA quality head coach in your program. You also got the #1 recruit over the last 3 years, apparently, in your program. I gotta say, man, I really think that this team has a chance. And according to Tony Jones, The Athletic, this team has the potential of being a Final Four, contender this year, right out the gate, which is insane.
I'm excited.
I think it's going to be awesome, man.
It's going to be cool.
It's going to be great. We'd love to hear from you guys. Tune in. Let us know in the comments down below what you think about all this when it comes to BYU landing this 6'9" kid from Brockton, Massachusetts.
Yep.
That's really it.
Gatorade Player of the Year.
That's right.
For Massachusetts.
That's awesome. We want to hear from you folks. Let us know in the comments down below what you think about that. And also keep in mind, folks, that this channel did hit the 1,000 subscribers. So if you've not yet, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We're giving the first $500 that we earn in AdSense revenue back to y'all. So if you have not yet, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on that giveaway, and smash that like button for your boy AJ.
Do it.
All right, let's go ahead and pivot on over. Shall we talk a little bit about your Utah Jazz?
Let's do it.
All right, so let's go ahead and first jump into, the first topic that we wanted to talk about for your Utah Jazz. Oh, man, we need to switch the light over, man. We're doing rookie moves over here.
Rookie moves, but it's fine.
It's all good.
Everything's fine. Everything is awesome.
It's great. Let's go ahead and first talk about, there's a couple of players we want to talk about that's kind of had a great start to their season. And in this episode, what we're going to be doing is talking about your boy, John Collins. Yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about him, shall we?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. John Collins has been on fire this season. He's probably been one of the best players on the floor for the Jazz at all times. I mean, he's been an integral part of the few wins that the Jazz do have. So, I mean, my question is this what we want as Jazz fans, or would we rather see him be moved or the Jazz make a different decision with him?
So John Collins has been making waves in the NBA this season with a very impressive performance for the Jazz so far. After somewhat an underwhelming season last year, Collins has bounced back to average 18 points, 8.9 rebounds, 2.3 assists, 1.5 steals, plus a block per game over his last 10 games, which his field goal percentage stands at a very impressive 53.5%, showcasing his more efficiency when it comes to scoring.
Yeah.
He's currently a 50-40-90 guy, AJ.
That doesn't happen very often in the NBA.
That is very, very rare.
I think the last one was Steph Curry.
It was, I believe it was
maybe
Durant.
KD.
It was Durant.
Maybe KD. Okay.
It was the right team, though. It was when he was with the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah.
But currently right now, the only one who's close to those numbers in the NBA is Darius Garland of Cleveland, which his marks are at 49, 44, and 95. Collins' resurgence has not gone unnoticed. Head coach Will Hardy has praised him, calling him the engine of the team. Despite the praise, there's ongoing rumors that the Jazz are basically just showcasing Collins as a potential trade target ahead of the February 6th deadline. The Jazz are reportedly prioritizing draft positions this season and are open to trading Collins along with other players like Colin Sexton and Jordan Clarkson. While Collins is a key player with the Jazz, his future with his team remains uncertain. His strong performance this season has certainly increased his trade value. And it will be interesting to see what the Jazz decide to do to capitalize on his resurgence or kind of keep him as we continue on with this rebuild. What do you think about Collins' performance this season? Do you think the Jazz should keep him or trade him?
I mean, the fact is you kind of mentioned draft position here, and we got another potential draft target here that we'll talk about in just a minute. But John Collins is making himself into an asset, which is exactly what the Utah Jazz needed him to do. Right. The fact is his usage is currently at 22.4%, which is in the 83rd percentile. So they're using him. And like you said, they're showcasing him to show that this guy does have talent. I mean, it's crazy to think, what would he have been if we would have utilized him in the actual scenario when we had a team that was built to win?
Yeah.
Like if John Collins would have been this guy when we had Mike Conley still on the roster, when we just traded for Lauri Markkanen, when we still had I mean, who else was on those teams? But we actually could have, if he would have been this guy then,
Yeah.
this team would have looked crazy good. So we missed it. We missed it just by like that much. Okay. His turnover percentage is at 15.8, which is tied for the highest since his rookie year, where he had the same 15.8%. That's not great.
No.
But when your usage is in the 83rd percentile, you're obviously getting used more than most players in the NBA. So you got to give somewhere, right? He's not going to be the most turnover efficient player when your usage is, in the upper 3/4 of the league. So Collins has been great. I mean, he's shooting 43% from three. He's in the 90th percentile in that percentage. And he's 53% from the corners is what Collins is currently doing. So do we need to move him? I don't know. It depends on what his draft value actually turns into. And I'll be really curious to see what the Jazz end up doing with him.
So while he is having a good year,
yeah,
right, and he would fit in and slide into any contender, he has a player option next year for $26 million.
Exactly. That he's opting into.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
100% opting into, because no one's going to pay him more than that.
Yeah. Unless somebody offers him and says, hey, we'll take out that last year of eligibility and give you a 2-year contract but he's not going to take that.
No,
he's not going to.
No.
Yeah.
He's going to take the $26 million.
Yeah. So is he really an asset? Like, I just have a hard time believing that no matter how good he's playing right now, the Jazz are going to be able to move that contract. I just don't know. And the only way you can do that is by giving away young talent and potential draft picks, which is what we're trying to hoard and get out of him in the first place. So I don't really know the likelihood that he is going to be traded. While I think the Jazz are going to try, and do they want to? Absolutely. Do I think they will? Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not. That's my take. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that the best situation for the Jazz is definitely to get what you can get for him. If somebody's going to offer you to move him, you don't want to take on $26 million next season.
No, you don't.
Because he's got the option.
Well, I think you only pay Larry next year as far as big contract money, and you do need to hit the salary floor.
Yeah, but you're gonna. I think next year you're able to offer. I mean, if you're gonna have a top 5 draft pick, you're gonna have to pay that boy.
No, it's gonna be his rookie contract, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I guess that's true. But
I mean, he does have some guaranteed money where he's making like $15 million a year, but
we are going to be getting some of these guys that, I mean, we're going to have to start offering to pay some people though.
Yeah.
You do have Bryce Sensabaugh, Taylor Hendricks.
We got to get into him, by the way. I want to talk about him. That's gonna be a future episode.
Yeah.
I would say that there's some room to definitely talk about him, and I do want to talk about him. So we're going to save that one for a future episode, but we'd love to hear from you folks. Let us know in the comments down below. What do you think about John Collins? Do you think the team is really playing him up to try and move him, or is he just just trying to show his value and just really balling out for this team?
Yeah.
So we'd love to hear from you. Let us know in the comments down
Absolutely.
below. Speaking of comments, let's go ahead and jump into some of the comments here. The first one we got here is from Greg Hawkins,
friend of the channel.
Exactly. How about 40-point win followed by a 40-point loss?
Tell me that's not the most brutal thing you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, man, this Jazz team has figured something out. They've got it. Here we go. And then just to get torched like the next night is like, okay, well, all the things that we figured out were clearly not working.
Yeah, Danny Ainge came in the locker room after that win. He's like, okay, yeah,
he's like,
good job. Here, guys.
Cut that ass out.
Champagne. He's like, all right, okay. So going forward, we're not doing that.
Whatever you guys were doing, yeah, that's next season.
Bring it back a little bit. Okay, let's bring it down for sure. Yeah, but that's Jazz basketball this year, man. You get huge insights to how well the team's going to perform, and then immediately after that, you're like, ugh. Definitely.
We don't want anybody to know that.
Yeah, Kinley Cutler says John Collins, while his value is high, personally, I don't think he's a long-term piece. Definitely not. Might be a good bench player. Won't want to be the team that is giving him his next contract.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Jazz are not going to be the teams that give him his next contract. You nailed it.
Honestly, if they may, it depends. You just got to understand that he was way overpaid last time.
Well, exactly. And that's true. It's not going to be a next big contract. And does he fit into the timeline? His age is about right. Mm-hmm. If he can stay productive. But the problem is if he digresses and he doesn't continue moving forward, we can't afford to have him even making a mid-salary with the production he's had for the last couple of years. So if we think that he's making steps and can continue to contribute to this team on a daily basis, the way he is, I think, the Jazz could give him a mid-level contract for sure.
Yeah, we also have Greg Hawkins jumping back in here. That's the one we
That's the one we just
read. And then we're there, and then we're here. Okay.
Yeah, go down to McKinley. Yeah.
There we go. Should clarify the bench player on a championship team. Yeah, that's a good clarification there.
Great point.
Yeah, definitely would make sure want to make that
clear. New CBA is weird. Not making any new contracts difficult to get. Yeah.
Yes. And, it's the threat of that second apron there is kind of making it hard for super teams to really build. I really think that the reason why Collins is on this team is because they need to pay somebody. And you got Lauri Markkanen, and now you have John Collins, who's basically helping us hit the salary floor. If we trade JC,
those two players make us hit the salary floor.
If you trade JC, then you're gonna have to pay somebody, right? So I don't know. We'll see. I definitely think that the current CBA is definitely making it more difficult. We need to clear some space in cap for Walker and Kessler.
Walker and Kessler.
I like it. Walker and Kessler. So
Walker. Sorry, he goes to the next one. Says Walker and Keontae.
Walker and Keontae. I don't know, man. I'm not 100% sold on Keontae, man. He's averaging 4 to 5 turnovers per game over the last 8 games. His shot selection is definitely leaves much to be desired. And yes, he is a young second-year player. I get that. But in all reality, man, his future on this team as a point guard is definitely suspect for me.
Here's the thing, though. Keontae is the best shooting guard out of that class, though.
No, I agree. He's the best shooting guard, but that's not where we're playing him.
Right. Well, not where we're playing him right now. I understand we're playing him in the point guard position right now. That doesn't mean that's where he's going to end up.
Yes, but that's not good for his development, man. He needs to be developing where he's naturally suited to fit.
Where he needs to be developed is having the confidence to move the ball up the floor, to make decisions, and to get comfortable shooting it in situations that the Jazz need him to shoot it in.
I would agree. It also says here, I would also trade Colin Sexton if you can get 2 second-round picks or more.
See, I disagree there. I think you keep Sexton. I think Sexton, you're not going to get the value of 2 second-round picks, and 2 second-round picks are not worth the production you're going to get out of Colin Sexton.
What's his contract at right now?
I think he's only making 16 or 17 million a year, which is not crazy. And the fact is, Sexton is directly on the timeline with Lauri. He's like almost the exact same age. They might have been the same draft class.
I could see his trade value higher than JC is, though.
Oh, it is.
So
I think so, because Sexton's got that motor. I don't know. I like Sexton. I think you keep Sexton until this team gets turned around, as long as he's good staying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's obviously understanding. Well, A, he's under contract, but B, he has to understand that we're going to go through some growing pains. And as long as he understands that, I think you keep Sexton around as long as you possibly can.
Yeah, I think I like it. I think that's a good idea. But I also agree that I also do think his trade value is going to be higher. I kind of agree with McKinley there that's a potential piece to move. If your goal is to get assets, to get young players back, get young talent back, I think you do that, man. Because if there's 2 players on this team that are getting in the way of this team's chance to be the bottom team in the West, which they currently aren't anymore, the Portland Trailblazers have passed them.
Yeah,
it's going to be Colin Sexton and John Collins. Those 2 players are getting in the way right now.
Yeah.
But anyway, I have to agree with you there on that one. Let's go ahead and catch up with the comments here. McKinley also says, I'm sold on Keontae being the NBA, being an NBA player,
just not a point guard. Yeah.
Could not agree more.
Exactly.
Also, McKinley says here, what would you trade Sexton for? 1 first unprotected first-round pick
and maybe a young player. Ooh, that's a good question. If you have a young player with some potential upside, maybe a top 15, top 20 pick and an unprotected first round pick, yes, you probably do. If you've got a player that is top 15 with that much potential, yes, you move Colin.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what Ainge is going to probably want out of somebody like that.
That's the only way Ainge moves him, I think.
Yeah. And also Pelicans are the what? I'm pretty sure
Pelicans are the.
Did you hear about the Brandon Ingram thing? Did we talk about that last week?
He finished it.
Okay.
Pelicans are the team at the bottom, not the Blazers. They still have 3.
Oh yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Pelicans, not the Blazers.
McKinley, we appreciate you fact checking us as we're going, because we don't have all of them in front of us. So.
Yeah, it definitely helps.
Yeah. 3 minds are better than 1.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Speaking of which, we're talking a lot about draft prospects here, so let's go ahead and talk a little bit about that, shall we?
Yeah.
Now, I mentioned on a previous episode when we talked about who the Jazz should draft and what the options that the Jazz would have in that spot, and I said there's a good chance that Cooper Flagg may not be the number 1 draft pick this year.
Yeah.
And if the Jazz do get that opportunity, there's a chance there that the Jazz could draft somebody else, which is Dylan Harper.
Yeah.
Dylan Harper. Have you heard about this?
I have heard about this.
So former NBA star Ron Harper voiced his strong opposition to this happening, said this of his son being drafted by the Utah Jazz. Harper made a comment on social media saying that a trade would happen if the Utah Jazz selected Dylan in the 2025 NBA draft. This statement was likely influenced by Harper's own negative experience with the Jazz when he played against the NBA Finals against the Charlotte Bulls. You'll kind of get into that more. However, Harper did later clarify on social media that he was just joking and that Dylan can make his own decisions about his future team. Dylan is a standout freshman at Rutgers and is currently projected to be a top 3 pick in the NBA draft. He has impressed several NBA scouts, and a lot of folks are saying he could potentially be the number 1 overall pick this summer. He's averaging 23.8 points, 4.5 rebounds, 4.6 assists while shooting 51.1% from the field in his first 8 college games. Despite the initial comments, Harper did emphasize that he did not control his son's career, didn't control his son's career decisions, and he will choose his own path. What do you have on this, man?
Yeah, I mean, Harper he's a 6'6" freshman that's playing at Rutgers. The kid's obviously having a phenomenal season. Projected to go top 3 as of right now. If the draft happened today, the Utah Jazz are number 3.
Yeah.
So there's a big chance that obviously the Jazz are potentially looking at this. Remember, if you guys don't know, Ron Harper is the guy. The tweet that this was made on said specifically that Ron Harper didn't want to come to Utah a few years ago. That person actually mixed up with Derek Harper from the Lakers that said, would you go play in Utah?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So that was mixed up with Derek Harper, not Ron Harper. So I did want to clarify that. As you read through it, it's not the same person that they're comparing it to. Ron Harper, this guy was a stud basketball player. I mean, he was the 8th overall pick in the 1986 NBA draft by the Cleveland Cavaliers. He won 5 NBA championships, 3 with the Bulls during the Michael Jordan era, where obviously in 2 of those, they did take down the Jazz. And then, 2 with the Lakers during the Kobe and Shaq era. So Ron Harper is an NBA legend, and there's nothing bad to be said about him until he started dissing on the Jazz and saying there would be a trade happen at the Jazz to take him. He doesn't actually have any ill will against the Jazz. And like you said, and I quote, his exact words were, "I don't control my son or the NBA team draft board. I see pictures of a few teams that I would want him on, but it's not my career." And, he's not worried about where his son gets taken. The fact is, if your son's going to be drafted by an NBA team, you just let them go to the NBA.
Yeah.
There's going to be a choice in every single player's career where they get to choose where they go.
Yeah, he did mention he didn't exactly have a good experience here in Utah.
But I think a lot of that has definitely changed. I think the fan base has changed. I think the players changed. I think if Dylan Harper was to call Jordan Clarkson, who is a great person in the NBA community, and ask him, what do you love about Utah? I think Jordan Clarkson would give him multiple reasons to want to come here, play basketball. And the fact is there's nothing you're going to do. If the Jazz draft you, you're going to demand a trade.
Well,
try doing that right. Yeah, but try doing that right out the gate, right? All you're going to do is tarnish your own name. You go to play where you play.
Yeah. So do you think the Jazz take the option to draft this guy if they get a chance?
I think if he's the best available player, yeah, I think you absolutely draft him.
I agree.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't think you let what a father of a player tweets on on the X, whatever you want to call it, decide what you're going to do with your draft pick. Obviously, the Jazz have a great track record of getting players to the point where when they go to sign that free agent contract, they were put in their best position to win here. Name a single NBA free agent that left here, with the exception of Paul Millsap in the last 20 years, that actually performed better outside of Utah than they did inside.
Pretty rare.
Yeah. Also, I wouldn't ask Donovan Mitchell how his experience was here in Utah.
And also the fact is you've got a young coach in Will Hardy that is great at developing players. He's making our players better with each year. He's obviously been handed a very crappy deck of expectations from the Jazz brass. Like, hey, we can't win as much as you're coaching these guys to win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there is going to come a point when you turn it loose and say, hey, we're ready. Like, we've got enough players. Let's win some ball games here.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to be exactly the guy we needed in those situations.
Yeah, it was a hard realization when they actually said, when Ryan Smith's like, hey, let's go out big game hunting. Let's get somebody in here. And it didn't work out. It's been proven this team does need to build from the draft. And I just hope that it's a quicker turnaround than it isn't. I mean, I don't know. There's a little bit of conspiracy theory because you can't really control who you draft, but isn't it a little interesting that Ryan Smith is paying $5 million for a player that just committed to BYU? That could potentially be the number one pick in the NBA draft in 2025. Sorry, 2026.
And if the Utah Jazz have the number one pick.
And if the Utah Jazz have the number one pick. So
just
I'm just saying. I'm not saying, I'm just saying.
I'm not saying, I'm just saying.
Anyway, did you see what happened with Donovan Mitchell? He FaceTimed Juan Soto.
I did see that.
Congratulating him going to the Mets.
Yeah.
You know?
Wasn't he with Juan Soto when he got the contract? I saw a
was.
video of him like pouring. I thought it was him pouring champagne all over Soto.
I don't know. I just saw them FaceTiming.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know what that was.
Maybe it was a different one.
Yeah. Very interesting. But
yeah.
Anyway, interesting time to pivot on over, shall we?
Also, but let's hit these comments real
yes,
quick.
Let's definitely hit those. So we have again from McKinley Cutler. Man, what a dumpster fire. I'm assuming you're talking about the Jazz season. And yeah, it kind of is. But it's also kind of fun to kind of watch this as it's progressing and
unfolding. Yeah.
We've never this is uncharted territory for us Utah Jazz fans. We've never been in a position where in a long-term rebuild where you had those, years where you had what's his name playing for Team Puerto Rico, Carlos Arroyo, years, and then you had your years where you had what's his name, Al Jefferson, which he was
Big Al,
great player, but yeah,
dude, I was so excited when we got Big Al.
Yeah, it was like 2 years, and then all of a sudden we were back in the playoffs again. So it's a little different this time around. We've never been this bad for this long, so it's definitely going to be interesting. We also have another comment here from McKinley that says, Hardy is a good coach. Last 2 years, he has won too many games. Glad he is on board with the tank. We all know why he called that timeout. Exactly. Yeah, icing his own player, man. It's so great. And I'm not talking about the Pelicans season as a bastard.
No,
I'm talking about
the Pelicans season. Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yes, if anybody's having a worse year than the Jazz, it's definitely the Pelicans because they have the talent, to be a potential playoff team, and they're just not. So it's an interesting year for them for sure. But it could be said about the same thing, dumpster fire for the Jazz too.
I think you missed the still think that flag is a number one.
Oh yeah, let's get to that one. Still think the flag is number one. Harper is playing a cupcake schedule while
Flag is playing much better competition. Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is,
an ACC schedule for Duke is a little more, is a touch different than playing for Rutgers.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I would like to point out that I was totally on board with them actually having a much better year in football this year than others. I got lambasted in that video.
Just saying. You nailed it. And people are hating at a massive level.
Yeah. But the good point about the Cooper over gosh, what was his name? We were just talking about him.
Harper.
Thank you. The big thing about that is that Harper is very much a proven offensive talent.
Yeah.
He is not what Cooper Flag is. And Cooper Flag is, forgive me for use a baseball term. We're going to baseball here in a minute. But Cooper Flag is really a 5-tool type player.
Right.
He is going to be expected to do more on defense.
He can do it all.
He can shoot. He can play make.
Yeah.
So, there's going to be a little bit. And he's always going to be the number one option for the best defender on the other team. They're going to be scheming around him versus, not so much for Harper. So, anyway, good point there. Great point for sure. All right. Well, let's go ahead and take that chance and pivot on over. Let's go ahead and take that opportunity and pivot on over and talk a little bit about Major League Baseball, shall we?
Let's do it.
All right, so just like we always talk.
Sorry, I bumped the camera.
It's all good. Just like we always talk about, man, everything drops as soon as we get off this channel here and hit that end recording. So congratulations to all you, for everybody in the transfer portal, everybody in Major League Baseball, getting the player they want as soon as we hit end stream, and we'll get to that for sure.
Pretty much guaranteed to happen as soon as we hit it.
Exactly. We got another comment here, but let's go ahead and jump into that before we talk about baseball.
Igor from BYU for the Jazz would love to see a point forward on the team. I have not seen him.
I'm gonna have to look into that one.
I'll look into it. I'll get back to you next week. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, maybe that's a great point.
Put a pin on that. We'll definitely talk about that.
Can you put a pin on it? Oh, can I star it? I start it.
Cool.
I don't know what that does.
Yeah.
We'll find out after
We'll
this.
find out for sure.
Thanks,
For
McKinley.
sure.
We appreciate it, though, buddy.
Good job. Good job. All right. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Major League Baseball. So, like I mentioned before, man, this happened like literally after we hit end stream last week. Was stated there that, again, honestly, I didn't think we would see something this soon after Shohei Ohtani $700 million contract was dealt out, that we would see another offseason where somebody else would get a $700+ million contract, AJ.
It's true. And I think the funny part is it is worth over 700 million, but these are much different contracts as far as values, especially per season.
Yes. So this is a 15-year, $765 million contract with the Mets.
Correct. And 765 over 15 comes out to what? 51 a year?
51 million a year. Yeah.
Where, remind me again what Otani's contract is?
2 million a year.
2 million a year.
68 million deferred.
68 million a year deferred, but that comes out to a 70 million a year
70
average.
million a year average. Yeah, 15-year contract versus a 10-year contract versus 15 does make a difference there for sure. This is making it the largest contract in American professional sports history.
Largest and longest, right?
And longest, yes.
Yeah.
And it came with a $75 million signing bonus and a suite to every home game, which we'll talk about here in a minute.
Yes, we got to talk about this.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. My first question I got to ask you when it comes to this is, first of all, was this contract worth it? Like, is Juan Soto worth that? Can we just quickly touch on that before we jump into what we actually want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, this is just a great point. I mean, and this is kind of the question I think that every single Mets fan has got to be asking themselves, right? Yeah, you wanted Juan Soto on your team. The dude's a great hitter. Is he a great defensive player? No, I think he's -4 in plus-minus wins on average, for what he adds as far as a defensive player. So it's not like he's doing that much on the defensive side of the ball. He's obviously a great hitter. You've obviously got some other tools on this team as far as Francisco Lindor. You've got Starling Marte. You've got a great catcher in Francisco Alvarez.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got some great players on this Mets team that it makes them a lot better as far as an offensive team that puts you in the running ?
Yeah, we'll definitely get into that. But I really think that Mets fans are more excited about the fact that they beat Big Brother in getting this guy.
But did you though? But did they beat Big Brother? Because the fact is it's not like the Yankees didn't have the money to pay Soto. They just weren't going to pay him what he was asking.
Yeah, I don't think that they actually went back to it. I think that again, to your point, I think the Yankees did have this basically 760 over 16 years.
Correct.
So it was like, oh, there's only $5 million. No, it's a $55 million difference.
Correct.
Contract.
Yeah.
The Yankees wanted to stretch it out one more year to bring that AAV down so they could still operate. And Mr. Uncle Steve there, Steve Cohen, the richest baseball owner, says, hold my beer. This is what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're getting them. I don't know. Let me ask you this. When it comes to that, does this affect the NL National League power structure at all? Like, does this move the needle for the Mets?
So let's just go over the teams that realistically really run the National League. Okay. You got the Dodgers, who are World Series champions.
Go Dodgers.
They continue to add to their roster. They're going to be better. The chances are they probably sign Sasaki. They add one more really strong pitching. Does this make them better than the Dodgers? The answer is absolutely no.
No,
they're just not. Adding Soto's not better than Ohtani. There's no 3 hitters in a row on their roster that are better than the front 3 or than the top 3 for the Dodgers. They're not better.
3.
Yeah, they're not better than the Dodgers. The Padres, you've got crazy good hitters all the way through the Padres.
Yeah,
they
Tatis
were
Jr., Machado.
Yeah, I mean, they were the scariest team coming out of the National League.
Yeah.
And even as a Dodgers fan, you did not want to see the Padres in the second round.
I thought it was absolutely ridiculous that the fact that the Dodgers had the best record in baseball and they drew the hottest team in baseball right in the playoffs. And they were down 2-1.
Yeah. I mean,
they had to have a whole staff save it for them.
They had to have whole staff save the whole thing. If you know, you know.
Exactly.
So are they better than the Padres? No, they're not. They are not scarier than the Padres, especially if the Padres return even 70% of their lineup from last year.
They have pitching, man. They're better.
The Padres are so good at pitching.
Dylan Cease, Darvish, these guys.
Or Dylan Crease, depending on what autocorrect says.
Exactly. Can't forget about Dylan Crease. Musgrove will be back next year, I think. So, yeah, you can't compete with that, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, the next two big teams in the National League are obviously the Braves, Phillies. I'm a Braves fan. I don't think that this roster is better than the Braves. But the Braves they've got to make some moves this year. I'm
They just
curious
need to
to
get
see
healthy,
what the
man.
Braves do. They need to get healthy.
They kind of got hosed last year when it came to health. They were projected to be the best team in baseball last year.
Yeah. So
which is saying a lot with the Dodgers.
And the thing is they're not going to be healthy to start the season. Spencer Strider's still going to be out. Acuna is still going to be out to start the season. They're going to be, it's going to be 30 days in before you get both of those players back. And that's huge when you're relying on, you're relying on backups in a lot of situations. So, but are they better than the Braves? Maybe they're even with the Braves. Are they better than the Phillies? Maybe they're even with the Phillies. So did signing Juan Soto to the longest and biggest contract in MLB history turn them into contenders? No, it didn't.
Yeah. They had a pretty, I don't know how they got past the Phillies this year, to be honest with you. That's impressive to me. I really need to rewatch that series and see.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Is I'm not sure how, because the Phillies were so scary at the end of the year.
I think they just burned out. I think because they were in first place all year long. What normally happens is they're a wild card team. They get to the playoffs and they're a threat to be reckoned.
Exactly.
They just dominate, and the
Phillies, they needed a little too much to make it to the playoffs this year. Is what it was.
They're gassed, man.
Yeah,
I just really think they're gassed. And I think if that team operated last year, there's no way the Phillies lose to the Mets. Now with Juan Soto there, can the Phillies lose to the Mets? Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's kind of.
But are they destined to lose to the Mets? No,
not at all.
No, Juan Soto doesn't change it that far.
Yeah, man, I'd have to agree with you, man. This is a great first move by the Mets to put themselves in a position to be a contender. But does this make them? No. I know they were in the National League Championship Series, but the Dodgers really kind of handled them pretty easily.
Yeah.
They basically punted a game. And yeah, they won another close game. So they punted one. They did the whole, bullpen game, and they even had a chance to win that one. But Dave Roberts was playing chess, not checkers, and he's like, you know what? No, we're letting this one go. We're winning this one in 6. We're doing this our way. So I think they're not on the scale of the Dodgers, not even close. I definitely agree with you. They're not on the scale of the Padres. Could you argue the Braves? Maybe, because we don't really know what the Braves look like. Even for this season, we didn't.
You could only argue the Braves right now without knowing what moves they're going to make.
Yeah, and
in the offseason.
Phillies, I think, is kind of a push. So I think you're spot on that one, man. So I don't know. But yeah, so we'd love to hear from you folks. Let us know in the comments down below what you think about the Soto signing here. Let's talk about, before we do that, let's talk about Sweetgate, shall we?
Yes.
Okay. So why don't you tell them about this?
Absolutely. So Juan Soto, the whole deal on his contract, and he went straight back to the Yankees and said, look, I'm interested in coming back to the Yankees, but I want a suite for my family and friends to every single home game for the life of my contract. And the Yankees pretty much came back and said, no, thanks. Like, we have Aaron Judge and he doesn't have that.
He does, but he pays for it.
Yeah. Okay. That's right. Because it's Aaron Judge and who else?
Jeter.
And Derek Jeter. Okay. So both of them have both of them have suites, but they pay their own money for their suites for their team. And Soto wanted to include it in his contract. And they just said, yeah, no, we're not interested.
Did you hear how much that suite is worth for a year?
I didn't.
$50,000.
Oh, that's it?
That's it. $50,000.
That's it?
And that was Juan Soto's fix for having family issues with security. Security kept getting him, wouldn't let his chef in, or wouldn't let his father or one of his parents in. Made them stay outside in the rain because the security didn't know who they were. So they
$50,000.
So he's talking about, okay, well, if a suite, then I have a suite pass, then this will take care of that problem.
Right.
Yeah, it's worth $50,000 a year for that suite for the home games. So yeah,
that doesn't seem like that much.
No, but when you look at it this way, Aaron Judge is paying for his, Derek Jeter paid for his. So why would Juan Soto? Because he's freaking Juan Soto. He's the Ted Williams of this generation, the greatest hitter in this generation. You had a chance to sign him, and you screwed it up.
Yeah,
you absolutely screwed it up, Yankees. And I don't know. In my opinion, Cashman should be gone. I don't think he's a good manager. I know he's been around since the 90s. I think he thinks the brand is more important than it is. The Yankees of old are not the Yankees of now.
Correct.
These are not a repeat World Series champions. Yes, they made it to the World Series for the first time since 2009, but they
got embarrassed in that World Series.
Yeah, they lost in 5 games to a superior team. So
yeah,
I don't know, man. I just think it's really funny. I think the term, Sweetgate is kind of funny.
That is really funny. Actually.
That's one of the deciding factors that he had, was the fact that the suite. Ohtani has a suite, by the way.
Yeah,
included in his contract. The Dodgers didn't screw that one up.
That's what it was. He saw Otani's contract and he was like, I better get a suite.
Exactly.
If I'm not getting Otani got a suite.
Yeah. So the winter meetings wrapped up today. So let's go ahead and pivot on over and talk about that.
Okay.
Do you want to wrap up and say, should we say that part before? So we want to do 2 videos.
Yeah, let's do that actually.
We want to hear from you folks. Let us know in the comments down below what you think in regards to Juan Soto contract. Do you think the Yankees missed out? Do you think they should have pushed for it? Or do you think, hey, the Yankees are better off without him? We'd love to hear from you in the comments down below. Let us know.
Yeah.
Once again, folks, this channel did hit 1,000 subscribers. So if you have not yet, hit that subscribe button. We are giving the first $500 of We Earn an AdSense revenue back to y'all. So if you have not yet, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and smash that like button for your boy AJ.
Do it.
Also, check out the merch store down there. Be sure to check it out. We got
right down there.
Got some baseball stuff going in there, some jazz stuff going in there. So be sure to check it out.
New stuff going in all the time. So make sure you click it, hit the button. We appreciate all your guys' support.
Yeah, whenever AJ can be bothered to post them.
Yeah, I mean, let's not take it too far. You know what I mean? It just depends on the week.
Depends on the week, guys.
Yeah.
We have day jobs, So
unfortunately.
Yeah, we're working on that.
If you guys could tell all your friends to watch, we could probably get.
Yeah, we'd be at
we could do this full time.
We'd be at the $500 revenue by now.
Yeah, we still haven't hit $500.
We still haven't hit that yet. So
yeah, we're getting there though.
We're getting there though. And it's going back to you guys.
Keep watching.
Keep watching, man. Appreciate it. All right, let's go ahead and pivot on over to the winter meeting, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so first of all, let's go ahead and talk about a few key things that happened during the winter meetings. The first one, most important one to me, is Blake Trinan re-signed with the Dodgers, 2 years, $22 million. I think that was the most important get for the Dodgers this offseason, and they freaking nailed it, man.
This was really important for the Dodgers to keep that continuity that they kind of had going in the bullpen. Yeah. Because he was such a huge part of that World Series team, and they're going to need him.
Yeah. Do you ever watch Trevor May's content?
A little bit.
He's a reliever that has now retired.
Yeah.
As a podcast.
Yeah.
If you ever watches like Trevor May's,
all of his overlays.
Yeah. When he watches,
yeah.
Blake Trinan, he loses his mind. Yeah.
He's like, how do you hit this guy?
Yeah.
How do you do it?
Ball is just like a video game, man. It's just
and it comes out of your hand in the exact same spot every single time.
Same arm slot, same pop out of the thing.
Yeah.
It's not like Yamamoto's yo-yo curve that you can see it pop out of your hand a little bit, but then it also rises after that.
But there's still nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. It's just Blake Trinan's amazing. He was a workhorse. He was just the man in the Dodgers bullpen this year. And they, and he's still, he's not slowing down. So yeah, give him a 2 year, $22 million contract. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, pay that man.
It's great. I like it. The Dodgers also signed Conforto to a 1 year, $17 million contract, which is kind of.
How do you feel about that?
It's the Hayward contract this year, the Jason Hayward contract, the platoon bat that we're going to need in the lineup. So I don't know if it was really necessarily the player I would have gone for on that one, but I definitely think it was a sign they had to make for that kind of player. So
right,
17 million is a bit of an overpay if you ask me. I would like to really have seen around the 15 million or below, probably around the 12 million. But it was a good sign. Michael Conforto to the Dodgers. I liked it.
Yeah.
So now
we got a comment though. Tammy Price, friend of the channel. Blake was amazing. Yes, Tammy.
Yes, he was. And let's not forget about Blake Snell signing with the Dodgers. We talked about that last week. And that happened prior to the winter meeting, so that's not what we're talking about now, but that's freaking awesome. Let's talk about Walker Buehler, man. This guy's gotten a lot of interest from other teams, which really, unfortunately, scares me. Walker Buehler has been connected to the Braves. He's been connected to the New York Yankees, and he was also connected to the Sacramento Athletics.
Is that what they're being called now?
Yeah,
that's scary.
Or the Athletics. They're not saying Sacramento; they're just calling them Athletics. Did you hear this? So they reached out Walker Buehler before they signed. What's his name? They signed Severino. Was it Severino? The A's paid their biggest contract in A's history to a pitcher. I believe it was Severino.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I can't remember if it's him or not. Correct me from the comments if I'm wrong. But they gave him the biggest contract, and they went to Walker Buehler first, and Walker Buehler said, "I'm not playing in Sacramento." Straight up. Nope, sorry, not going to that franchise.
Hard pass.
You got to love that, man. I think it's awesome. But yeah, so now the Dodgers did sign Michael Conforto to a 1 year deal. Does this affect the Dodgers' chances? Does affect the Jazz chances? Does this affect the Dodgers' chances of signing Teoscar Hernandez? That's something I want to ask you about. With Juan Soto going with the Mets, Now the Yankees and the Red Sox and obviously the Blue Jays are all probably going to pivot to another power bat in the lineup. And there's no bigger power bat than the guy who just won the home run derby last year in a World Series ring in Teoscar Hernandez.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of competition there within that one. Tammy, actually, friend of the channel, did make a comment regarding that. Where do you think Teo is going? I think he stays with the Dodgers.
I mean, if you're Teoscar, why would you leave? You think someone's going to pay you more money?
Yes.
I guess if you're looking for it now.
I think there's 3 teams that are going to be more desperate because they missed out on Juan Soto. They need to make a splash. They need to win the press conference. They can't not come away empty-handed. I think the Red Sox or the Blue Jays. Blue Jays missed out on Ohtani last year.
Right.
You know, they keep swinging for these big name players. They never get them. And he played there. You know, he had some of his best years there in Toronto.
Absolutely.
So I definitely think that Teoscar could get more money from the Blue Jays. But honestly, would you take the same amount of money deferred to stay with LA? Probably.
Yeah.
So that's what I think happens.
I think that would be my guess. What happens? I think he'll take the same amount of money, defer it, and figure it out on the backside. I mean, the dude's not. It's not like he's hurting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? These are all MLB players.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Another thing that came out in winter meetings is Dodgers shortstop is going to be Mookie Betts.
That came out in the winter meetings.
Yeah. Dave Roberts mentioned in an interview that Mookie Betts is going back to shortstop. So they want to move him to second base to the infield so they could prolong his body and prolong his prime. So what they do is they put him in the most physically demanding spot on the field next to catcher.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is shortstop.
Why wouldn't you move him to second?
They have way too much love for Gavin Lux, man. Now, I will give Gavin Lux his flowers. He had a great second half of the year last year, and he did hit the sac fly to tie the game in Game 5 against the Yankees in the World Series.
Right.
So he did pony up and do some stuff in the World Series. So I love that about Gavin. But, dude, come on, man. Just trade the guy. Put him at second base. Put Mookie at second. You have what's his name at shortstop, and then you also have the guy they just signed to a $75 million contract that's playing center field. His name is escaping me right now. I can't believe I don't remember his name. It's killing me. Tammy, help me out. We got him from the Cardinals. Just signed to a $75 million contract. Tommy Edman, Tommy Tanks. That's who it was. Tommy Tanks. He can play center field. He can also play shortstop. When you have Miguel Rojas as our starting shortstop, if he needs to stay off, you can move Tommy Tanks to short, and you can put in Andy Pajes in center field. Don't kill Mookie Betts' prime by doing that. I think it's absolutely stupid. So now with the Red Sox losing out on the Juan Soto trade, we have a trade actually that happened during the winter meetings, and this is where the Red Sox traded with the Chicago White Sox for Garrett Crochet. So he was the pitcher. You remember
this seems crazy to me.
Yeah. So
the White Sox are like, we were the worst team in baseball all of last year. Mm-hmm. We had one shining spot in a starting pitcher. Let's trade him to the Reds. So let's trade him to the Red Sox, right?
Yes.
Let's trade him to the Red Sox.
Yeah. So the Red Sox are acquiring left-hander Garrett Crochet from the Chicago White Sox for 4 prospects, all of whom are highly regarded. Sources tell ESPN. This is coming from Jeff Passan, who is baseball god, basically baseball Jesus.
Yeah.
When it comes to
he's baseball Wojnarowski.
Yeah. Except
Woj retired. Yeah.
Except for LeBron doesn't hate this guy. So, but anyway, so when it comes to that, Garrett Crochet is going to the Red Sox. Now, he was a player that was hot at the trade deadline last year. Remember, he came out and said, I will not pitch in the postseason without a contract extension.
Right.
Yeah. That guy, it makes me concerned. That means that makes me think that he thinks durability is going to be an issue for him, and he doesn't want to not sign a fat deal.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know if he's on this trade and he's just like, hey, extend me before we talk, and want to get immediately into trade talks. I don't know. I think it's a little ridiculous, but yeah. So when it comes to that, there again, we got to talk about the biggest thing that came out of the winter meetings, which is obviously Max Fried signing with the New York Yankees. For I believe, what was it? As far as the deal goes, the Max Fried deal, that was 8 years, $218 million.
8 years, 218, huh?
31 years old. He'll be 32 years old by the time the season starts. As a Braves fan, what's your feeling on this?
I mean, we knew Fried was gone.
Yeah, we thought he was gonna be a Dodger though.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. He's gonna play for the Yankees.
Yeah, I mean, and you can't be mad at him for this Yankees contract that he signed. I
No,
mean,
no,
the
absolutely not.
fact is, he's got a $20 million bonus coming in it. So yeah, 8 years, 218. Max Fried. I'm really happy for the guy as a Braves fan. You know what I mean? Somebody was going to pay him. We knew the Braves weren't going to. So 12 million and 25, and then 26, he goes to start making $29 million a year annually, over 6 seasons, $30 million a year. The dude's still got some years in him to pitch. I'm excited for him, man. It doesn't upset me at all. He gave his all to the Braves while he was there. So
yeah, this is a 6-year contract. The Yankees stretched out to 8 years so they can bring down the AAV.
Right.
The Dodgers actually defer. Other teams just stretch out the deal and make it longer than it needs to be.
Yeah.
So I still don't understand why other major league teams don't do deferrals. Like, it blows my mind, especially New York teams. They have the second highest income tax for a state, and they still don't do deferrals, which blows my mind. I don't know why other teams don't do it, but
no one's figured it out yet.
the Mets have done it with Scherzer and Verlander. So, but yeah, I digress. They don't do it as often. I don't know, man. I think that is a good pickup for the Yankees. That is what, 31 million of the 55 million that they were gonna 51 million they're gonna pay Soto. So you have another 20-ish million that you can spend per season to go get another talented bat or another arm. So I don't know, man. It's the right move, I think. Anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
No, I think the Yankees made the right choice. I mean, he's a great pitcher. I mean, this is the largest pitcher for a left-handed. This is the largest contract for a left-handed pitcher in history. So, this is awesome. I mean, I don't know. I'm not upset about this at all. Like I said, I knew he was going. So
yeah, no, I absolutely love it. We got to talk about next week. We'll probably bring this up and be a future video idea to talk about. But the return and the bounce back of Scott Boras, man. We want to talk about a guy who's freaking cleaning up right now.
Yeah,
Roki Sasaki, Juan Soto, Blake Snell. All these players are getting like really good contracts. We're basically like not working out last year. This year, he's probably like the comeback story of the year.
He's going to be the comeback agent of the year.
Easily.
Yeah.
We want to hear from you folks. Let us know in the comments down below what you think as far as the winter meetings. Obviously, the winter meetings did wrap up tonight, and we'll probably see more to come from
guaranteed. As soon as we hit end stream, flurries.
Oh, for sure. Both New York teams are in on Roki Sasaki, as well as the Dodgers and the Padres. And then the Reds are also interested in Luis Robert Jr. So lots of stuff that's going to be cooking. We'll see if it ends up, and we'll definitely update you next week what happens coming out of these as we enter in free agency towards the deadline there. But once again, folks, we did hit 1,000 subscribers on this channel. So if you're not yet, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We're giving away the first $500 that we earn in AdSense revenue back to y'all. So please make sure that you are subscribed to the channel so you don't miss out on that giveaway, and smash that like button for your boy AJ.
Boom, do it. And if you're watching on YouTube on one of our short videos, just know this is available as a podcast wherever you get your audio. Make sure you check it out, rate it, review it. We appreciate all your guys' engagement on them.
Absolutely. Slap some engagements on the YouTube channel. If you're watching this in the background, smack like. And if you're here on the live stream as you're leaving, please hit that like button on your way out. That really helps out the algorithm and lets more people join us on the live stream. We'd love to hear from you guys, and keep jumping in the comments. We'd love to hear from you again. With all that said, my name is Darren. That is AJ. Check out our merch store. This has been an episode of the DNA Sports Cap. We'll see you next
Sports week. Recap.
What did I say?
Sports Cap.
Okay. With all that said, my name is Darren. Let's try that again. Okay. Make sure you guys check out our merch store. We got all these hats, hoodies, and other stuff in the merch store. Be sure to check that out. Let us know if you'd like to see something specific. We'll put that together and get it in our merch store as well. With all that said, my name is Darren. That is AJ, and this has been the DNA Sports Recap.
Till next time.